It's dangerous to go alone. Take this.
And welcome to Nerd Breaking News. We actually have breaking news. It came out just a few days ago, and it is officially announced that Disney had a disappointing 2023 as they are no longer the highest grossing studios, and Universal Pictures was the one who dethroned them. So let's go ahead and talk about that, and then we'll go ahead and start with the professor on this one
The
to give him
problem
a
with
chance.
Disney is they didn't stand a chance. They didn't stand a chance to begin with. Universal came out with Fast and the Furious and Super Mario Brothers in the exact same year. So they came out with two surefire W's. When you're looking at Disney, on the other hand, I believe their releases this year was The Marvels, Quantumania, and Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Essentially, you're only really talking about one strong franchise out of those three, period. The Disney movies that came out, I don't quite remember what they were, which says a lot. That's actually pretty bad. And I think that the real issue that Disney is having is they haven't figured out whether their best ideas should be in the theaters or they should be on Disney Plus. Because part of the problem is some of the best animations actually on Disney Plus. It doesn't go to the theaters at all. And the consumer knows that. At the same time, they're consistently making movies that cost a lot of money that no one has asked for. No one asked for Quantumania. No one asked for the Marvels. I'll give them Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but they need to stop making movies that no one asked for. I believe next year they have a Mufasa movie coming out. No one has asked for Mufasa's origin story. So when you're looking at it, they're just trying to mine their intellectual property for every single dollar that they possibly can without thinking about how the movies can be received and if the consumer even wants them. And that's on them.
Yeah,
Um,
and I agree completely with that. Unfortunately, the way Disney has been heading to, I don't know, like it's just it's not there anymore. People are just don't want to go see it in the movie theaters anymore. Everybody's taking advantage of, the streaming services and stuff like that. And then the product that they're putting out there is just not top tier product. Like the storylines are not completed, and it hurts overall the box office for them. And the other side, you have Universal Studios who've been putting some pretty good storylines out there, and honestly, that's what captivates people to show up. And then if you're looking at the future, like we were looking at earlier, we're looking at Despicable Me 4 coming out. That's going to be a big, huge film for them. They're coming out with another Speak No Evil film out there. And then what does Disney have? They're probably going to come out with Inside Out 2, Deadpool 3, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So they're just revamping a lot of the stuff. Hopefully, their storylines will be better because of the films that they're trying to put out there. But I think it's just they're trying to build on that nostalgia more than anything. And we're kind of like a little bit over it, especially with like the oversaturation of like superhero films with Marvels, DC, and all this stuff. They need to find a new way in order for them to bring us back to the seats in the theaters.
yeah, and I'm gonna piggyback what TK was saying. It's surprising, right, that Disney's not the main um, studio in terms of finances, as they've been doing the last 6 7 years or even further, because it is known to being a very successful company. And to piggyback to what both of you guys are saying, let's look back in 2023. So you start off early in the year with Quantumania, which was one of the flops. What was going on in 2023 was a product of superhero fatigue, and I don't believe there's superhero fatigue. I believe that the reason that there's superhero fatigue, quote unquote, is because the bad writing and the bad storytelling, and people want to see something new. So I don't think it's superhero fatigue. I think it's the idea that it's lazy people just plugging stuff in and saying, calling it Marvel. Can't call it DC because they know it's a failure. But calling it Marvel, and they say, hey, you know what? The blind fans are going to go in there, and we're going to take advantage of the blind fans, and they're going to go in the movie theaters. That's a great point by the professor in reference of Disney Plus. Um, that's ruining the animated portion of Disney, meaning that what the two main films that came out for animated versions, I guess, for Disney in 2023 is Elemental and Wish. Elemental is it's a great film. I enjoyed it. A lot of people enjoyed it. It has a lot of allegories to immigration and all that stuff. It's a great film. It took a while for the box office for them to click in. It took like 3 or 4 weeks for them to actually start making money. And I like the fact that they did that because it shows that unlike Encanto, because of the COVID and all that stuff, or Luca, these films didn't get they weren't released in theaters. And then in reference of Wish, I heard it was just very bad reviews in reference to the story. Um, but again, I could see those movies in 60 to 75 days, so why go watch it in theaters? With reference of Marvel, you had one hit this year, and that's Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And you failed with the Marvels. It's actually the number one flop in the history of comic book movies, worse than the Flash. That's sad. And then, like I
Yeah,
said,
that's sad.
yeah, that's sad. And then said earlier, Quantum Mania. And so, piggybacking also to what the title was. What did Universal release this year, guys? 2023, right? Like you said earlier, Fast and Furious. Listen, as much as those movies are cheesy and you got to take your brain out of there, anytime Toretto says it's all about the family, people go watch it.
Correct.
Hmm.
So, Super Mario has its issues, but generally we all like it. It has its issues, right? It's not a perfect, but it has a replay value. We all grew up playing the game. It's connecting. It's now it's in a starter universe. And the cool thing about Universal was after the success of the movie, they didn't greenlight part two, man. They're taking their time. And remember,
Mhm.
Nintendo movie since 1993's atrocity, the original Super Mario Brothers that we all grew up watching.
Remember that.
So and then the other movie that came out was half of Barbenheimer, right? Oppenheimer.
Mhm.
Oppenheimer. Yeah.
And I have yet to see it, and I'm dying for it to come in streaming so I can watch it because all I heard was great performances by Matt Damon, Robert Downey, Cillian Murphy, Chris Nolan bounced back after a horrible last couple of films, and the story's pretty cool. The story's I'm dying to see the story because all I heard was great things. It's not really about the bomb; it's about the man who created that. So that I'm dying to see that. And then at the same time, what else was going on here? The other half of Oppenheimer, the Barbie sensation. People were so
Mhm.
eager and so thirsty for something new that because Disney became lazy in their writing and they had certain agendas and tones, people are not about that life anymore. People just want to enjoy going to the movies. And guys, going to the movie theaters is, especially with a family, you're talking about a difference of $100 of being in Disney Plus and going to the movie theaters with a family of four. Like, it better be a good film. You don't want to walk out with a sour taste in your mouth and be like, man, I should have stayed home and watched Disney Plus. I should have stayed home and watched Paramount Plus to watch Nickelodeon movies. Like, the laziness and the ability and the idea of them taking advantage of their own fans, I think it was the downfall that led to 23. In addition to Barbenheimer, Super Mario, a couple of horror films that came out. The Jennifer Lawrence film that was the number one comedy of the year. That's on Netflix. There's a lot of films that people just want to see something new. And it's not to say that Disney's not going to come back hard with 2024. Deadpool is a very, very anticipated film in terms of the timeline and the multiverse. Hugh Jackman's back. Um, Inside Out's a great first film, and I'm sure part two is going to be great. But before giving back to the professor, I just think that the moral of the story is that don't be complacent, and people see that. And
Hmm.
without Robert Downey and Chris Evans, the MCU has been taking a dip, and they need to rectify that. And I said this on the record, and I'll say it again: the best way to rectify it is bring over that team from the '60s, the X-Men. That's how you're gonna get it done. But that's Marvel's problem. But Disney has enough properties, to your point, Professor, to rectify this problem. They just need better writing. They need better people in charge. They need better. But that's gonna happen because Disney, you can't have be successful for all these many years and then be trash. Like, they'll rectify it. Maybe Feige's also being complacent. We don't know, but this is the year of 2023 that other films took advantage of it and Disney was lazy.
Here's something that I think folks need to consider. The highest grossing movie for the year was the Barbie movie. And we have to be honest about what it is. It's a movie that wasn't advertised to men at all. It's a movie that's completely feminist. It's full of agendas regarding race, regarding sexuality, regarding gender. It's not a conservative movie at all, but I enjoyed it. I loved it. I watched it twice with my girlfriend. I had no problem. It made fun of me and I didn't care. The thing with the Barbie movie is at the end of the day, you know quality when you see it. Even though it's all of those things, the quality was so high that you appreciated what you saw, even if it wasn't marketed towards you. That's what Marvel movies lack. What happens, I think, is there's so much of a focus on how the agendas are the problem, but we see that has nothing to do with the box office at all. What we've seen consistently is that fans are very, very good at spotting a bad movie. They look at it and they go, I know that's bad. I'm not going out to see that. I've seen this before. You've lied to me before. So to me, the solution is simple. Make better movies. And at the end of the day, to the kid's point, you got to look at the directors, the writers, and the producers, and you have to ask them, why are you making so many bad movies back to back? And that's entirely on them.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. Hopefully their New Year's resolution will be to get better writers, to get us in the seat. That way they could get back and take their throne back
Dangerous to go alone.
one more time.
Take this.
So we'll end it with that. Tell us what you think about it. Go ahead, subscribe, like, comment over here. Go ahead, follow us on Twitter at NBN_daily. But till then, we'll see what's going to come out in the theaters, and we will see you on the next show. Guys, have a great day. Take care.